Good morning, everybody. Welcome to London Station, Discovery Core, where we look at games and products and things that are out in the marketplace or will be out in the marketplace. Today, City of Espers. I'm already warmed up because some of you, Killer, hi, in chat, some of you were here for the premiere of a YouTube video, not a live stream, an actual video that I edited at 2 in the morning, which was just a cut out of a decently sized rant that I went on in a different Minecraft stream many weeks ago. But I'd been meaning to pull that out because I got going and didn't stop getting going. And I was like, yeah, this is me. This is what it's all about. So for those of you coming into this stream, looking to hear about City of Espers, we're coming hot off of the premiere of that video, which go check it out on my channel. I only have 5 videos on my channel. I have 5 videos and like 50-something live streams. And 2 of my videos are just like before I even launched. They're just little promo things. We've got a really cool highlight of a friend's product that they made, a little character deck designer. What's the other one? Oh, my pumpkin spice review, because that actually happened in a stream that wasn't supposed to be about pumpkin spice. And then now this one, video number 5. It's 22 minutes long. It tells you so much about my passion and what I want to bring to this community and what I want to offer into my community, but the world at large. It's very, you might look at that and say, wow, somebody sure thinks a lot of themselves, but I'm a live streamer. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to look today at City of Espers, which is coming out of, let me get it right, it's coming 3 Sales Studios is going to publish this little trinket, and the Neon Caster on Blue Sky, Nathan Blades, is the author, creator of the game. We're going to dig into it in the way that we do, which means very close read. If you're new to me, I'm a very close read type of reviewer. It's not a review. The game doesn't exist in any finished state yet. It's a pre-release. It's not even a quick start. This is a pre-release before they even put the quick start out when they launch the backing for it in September. So we are like way on the cutting edge out here. But Thaddeus actually brought this game to my attention. I don't know how my mic volume is versus music. I didn't change anything, so hopefully it's good enough, but the music's done, so that is what it is. My microphone's at 0. Let's see if did something update? Did it go back to its old evil ways after I solved the problem? I don't think so. Let me know if it's not hearable. Anyway, but we're going to take a look at the game, the pre-release of the game. Again, pre-release before even the quick start, and they've already told me in their channels that there have been a lot of changes made since the pre-release even. So we're not going to like hold this to some rigorous standard like it's a published, finished work. This is in progress, but we're going to look at it for vibes. It has a lot that I'm interested in tone already. It is a celebration of like urban, psychic power, fantasy, turf relations between different factions, found family, queer identity, graffiti culture. I'm less into the graffiti culture, but it looks cool, so why not? Anyway, wow, chat. Okay, hi. The chat on the screen is the premiere. Yeah. Oh, it's not even bringing over the other chat? That's weird because I've used this link. Let me try it. Good call, Killer. Let me try and fix this. Which I have to awkwardly click around and go into my studio mode, go here, change this URL, bam, bam, save. And then probably going to have to refresh that source, maybe? Do I refresh it here? No. Do I refresh it here? Maybe. Where's my refresh button? There it is. If that doesn't do it, I might have to reopen it on... Hey, Thaddeus. Welcome in. We can figure it out. It says it's pulling the chat from the stream, but you are correct. On screen, it is still showing the chat from the premiere of the video. So let me refresh this source and try and re-grab it. I will close that, and I will take this, and I will pop that out instead. I'm so glad you said something, because I was on a roll, and I would not have seen that at all. We'll grab this URL. Click around here. It's nice to not be back in the days where I would like panic. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Now, theoretically, I do know what to do. Refresh. I mean, if this doesn't work, then clearly I don't know what I'm doing. It's not working. Why isn't it refreshing? I genuinely don't know how to solve this. Maybe. What if I do this? See, look, I can grab your chats from... Okay, wait. Why would the... I have more ideas. Bear with me. I need to refresh this source. Oh, I timed that perfectly. There we go. We fixed it. It was not the plugin at all. It was Stream Elements, of all things. I wonder why. That is very strange. Okay, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the end. We got it. Yes, I was going to say 3 Sales is Gallows Corner and Mapamundi. Now, I don't know anything about Gallows Corner, but I do know that when I got into their Discord and I was like, Mapamundi, I've heard about this. What is this? And then I looked that up, and then I took that into, I think I put it on Hime's Discord. I was like, anybody play this game? And somebody was like, yeah, I've definitely looked into it. But as an exploration mapping game that's not about combat and conflict, I was like, hello, it's me again. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I don't know how that song goes, actually. I know how to do the hello part, so anyway, live vicariously through me. I think that's enough intro, and I've got the PDF pulled up, and so we're going to head over to it now. Thank you all for being here on your Memorial Day Sunday morning, and sorry I couldn't stream yesterday morning. Oh my god, I felt terrible. So we were going to do this yesterday, and clearly did not happen. But I ended up like sleeping all throughout the afternoon, and then I was watching the clock, and I was like, I got to go to my second job soon, so I set an alarm, and I woke up. I actually slept through my alarm when I was trying to feel better, and woke up like 10 minutes before my shift started, and I'm like, nope. So I called in the old call-off line, which probably means my job's going to be harder today because I was not there to do a good job yesterday. But that's later London problems. Let's talk about RPGs. Here we have it. City of Espers. The art style is immaculate. This does have anime stylings, even as mentioned in its promotional materials. So we're going to be keeping an eye out for that. I do have a character sheet. I'll show you. It's very straightforward and just functional at this point. Again, this is a pre-release. It's not even a quick start. So this will be coming out later. They said they might have press release stuff later down the road, but that might be for me. That might not be for me. I don't know. I'm just a little fish over here. But here we have it. A Street Level Psychics TTRPG. You gotta love these characters. They have a really cool vibe. She's rocking her eyeshadow in the same exact way that I do. I study eyeshadow now, by the way, in art and everything. I'm like, I need to learn more techniques. Here we go. Writing by Nathan Blades and illustration credits. I don't know names in the industry until I do. So I call out names that I recognize and make connections. But these are all fairly new to me, and that's fine. Published by 3 Sales Studios. Pre-release guide, first edition, 2025. I think this came out quarter 3, quarter 4, pretty late last year. So we've got our table of contents, which of course, this channel, we're not going to get to most of this because how many pages do we have? 86 pages. And I think our record for how many pages we get through in a stream is let's call our average what it is. It's 25. It's 25 pages, let's be real. Because we're gonna read deep. That's what we do here. So this is gonna be an intro to the city, the world, telling stories in the city, and then system overview. We will probably aim to at least get through here, page 18. I think we can do it. And then creating a house, creating your Esper, character creation stuff. That would be good to get to as well. And turf. I've heard that turf is a really interesting mechanical identity to this game. Now, we're talking about getting through 40 pages, so we can do it. I think this is laid out in kind of like a 6x9, as in it's not like double column, super text heavy, so we might be just fine. And then we've got optional rules, and then actual like play stuff. This I'm not expecting to get to. A couple houses. Yeah. Locations, and then pre-gens. So we'll look at least one of the pre-gens, probably two, to get a sense for how what we've seen plugs into what it is. Oh, you know what's funny? I switched over here, and the chat's not updating over here either. We'll refresh that source. Okay. There we go. We'll get our life together here in a little bit. So here we go. Your new home. Now, okay, already, home is a word that keeps coming up. Thematically is going to be important because, again, this is about found family, and it's about turf, and it's about, well, it's about those things. So I think home is a very important word to the identity of this game. We'll find out. Zener City, maybe it's Zener. I'm going to call it Zener. I don't know. Zener City, the melting pot for metaphysics. Are you one of the ever-growing number that have awoken to startling psychic powers? Has pyrokinesis gotten your personal life out of control? Looking to meet a community of people that understand your unique needs? Then Zener City welcomes you with open arms. For centuries, we've prized ourselves as a multicultural hub of music, food, art, and fashion, and now we are proud to reveal our official Esper Residence Initiative. Yeah, I got my life together. I figured it out. Is that a thing? I do it to protect myself and make a plan so I know how to pace myself. I'm glad it's useful to the viewer, too. It's for me. This is neat, though. Centuries, okay, so was not expecting that. We're talking centuries of this city, okay? So we're already outside of the realm of our modern world. Okay, in America, our cities are not centuries old by and large. Some of them are, most of them are not. In Europe, okay, sure, but even then, this tells me that we have, a fictional progression of technology and everything that goes along with it. And now we are proud to reveal our official Esper Residence Initiative. So we got people waking up with psychic powers, potentially dangerous, troubling, whatever. I don't think we're going full X-Men like Hunt the Muties, but we'll see. But the city itself, as a government, has an official Esper Residence Initiative. I'm very interested in what that means. Thaddeus says, fashion is pretty core to self-expression in the game. I don't think mechanically, but narratively, yes. That's cool. Yeah, and I know the author, Nathan Blades, has got all sorts of cool fashion posts on their Blue Sky. Go check them out. I'm pretty sure I linked them in the thing. I try to link that stuff. So, very fashionable person. Ever since psychics started to awaken across the world, Espers have been making their way to our fair city for a fresh start and a sense of belonging. Here, you don't need to keep your unique talents under wraps. Instead, find others with a shared vision and form a house. Okay, so the reason they're coming, fresh start, sense of belonging. So we're already talking about, again, found family, queer culture, everything about that. Finding people who accept you for, the fact that you now have psychic powers. For those who have that superstar factor, channel your psychic abilities into thrilling Esper battles and compete with other houses for global acclaim. We at the House of Oracle are here to document your entire journey. Okay, this is cool too. We're going to use our psychic abilities into Esper battles, and presumably then we're not killing each other. This is more sporty. This is more pro-bending from Legend of Korra, right? So we're going to have competitions that are going to matter probably on an emotional level, on a personal growth, change, desire level. So I'm interested to see that. We did play, actually, a few of us, back in the day, played a little bit of Fight with Spirit, which is a sports drama emulator, whatever, it doesn't matter. Cool game, very interesting game that came out of MythWorks. And that game, actually, in fact, is like, hey, you can use this game with fictional sports or combat events. So you could take all of the setting work from City of Espers, and you could actually plug that into Fight with Spirit if you ever wanted to do. We'll see if it even lines up, but you could do like house battles in that game. Of course, this game might just handle it itself just well enough. So, get in touch with the Zener City Culture Board and see if Zener City is in your future. No clairvoyance necessary. And maybe I'll see you at the Palace Stadium. Don't stress. Wear your best. Put your talents to the test. The streets are calling. Oh, it's a promo video. That's cute. That's cute. I really like that, because you're reading it, right, in a book, and you're like, hey, here's some text. But then it's like, no. Like, expand your imagination. Imagine this again as a promo video. It has that tone, but it was cool that it got called out like that. Sorry. Fixating. It's me. Welcome to Zener City. What is this game? City of Espers is an urban fantasy TTRPG for 2 to 4 players and a game master. Play as a group of psychics connecting to the city they live in through high-energy battles and melodrama. Oh, that's my keyword. That's the London keyword right there. Using a deck of standard playing cards, players can become psychics themselves as they make guesses about what opponents might have up their sleeves. I believe it or not, I don't have access to a single deck of playing cards right now. I was like, I need to buy one. but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I do love in-world writings and rulebooks. Yeah, you know, I'm sure it's been around forever, but I feel like it's really become sort of it's become the norm, if you ask me, because you have like the Pathfinder books are doing it now. You know, like mainstream top 2 games are doing it. So, Household as well. That's good to hear too, and that makes a lot of sense. I feel like there's an efficiency portion of that, where as a publisher, as a writer, you're like, listen, I've got to like establish this world, but I also want to like let the world seep into every word that I'm using, and if I have to use words to explain how to play the game anyway, then why not just try and like overlap them and get the most bang for my buck, the biggest impact per word. So I'm here for it. This pre-release guide has everything you need to run a one-shot lasting 3 to 5 hours with a set of pre-made characters. Look forward to the full release of City of Espers, with expanded character options, campaign progression, and a guide to Center City and more. Miniature tactics without a map. City of Espers allows you to to be flexible and inventive in your Espers exploits, but also rewards tactical thinking and character building for action sequences. Very interesting. We will see how. So for the full City of Espers experience, we recommend players to have a tabletop miniature to represent their character. You can, of course, use anything to represent yourself, but building and painting a custom miniature alongside your fellow players is a feeling you won't want to miss out on. That's cool. That's cool. I don't know how many people these days have access to minis and painting and all that stuff, but it's a neat idea to like have everybody come together and do it together. That's kind of fun. You will need character sheets and pencils, 52 card poker deck jokers removed, an action map for action sequences, printed, built, or just drawn on a sheet of paper. I've seen these. I've flipped through, so we'll get to those maybe. Miniatures, tokens representing player characters, assorted tokens, and counters. The world of... I think this is going to be a 2-page spread here. Hold on. Zoop. Yeah, there you go. The world of City of Espers. I just wanted you to see that, and then I'll go back to the 1-page view. If I can learn how do I... there we go. The world of City of Espers. Games like City of Espers take place in Center City, a modern metropolis that could be anywhere on Earth. About 40 years ago, people across the globe started to demonstrate psychic abilities. Oh, that's pretty new. All right. Seemingly at random. That's the X gene acting up. Such potential power was not happily welcomed into a world already struggling with small differences between people. Ugh, don't we know it? And many of these folks, Espers, found themselves cut off from their families and communities. Heartbreaking. However, like minds will bond together one way or another, and Center City drew wayward psychics in from across the world. With a new community forming, a new culture grew alongside them. In this section, we'll break down the need-to-knows about Esper culture, the kinds of stories that City of Espers is built to tell, and how to get the most out of the game as players. I'm in for it. Houses. A group of Espers is called a house, founded and named by a house leader, house mother or father. Probably feel free to degender that if you want. Depending on how long a house has been around, there may have been several house leaders in its lineage. Houses represent themselves with a vibe. Ooh, in bold. Ha, mechanical. We're going to have to pick a vibe. I love that. A bold theme that connects all of its members. Center City has a big fashion culture, and your vibe is how everyone will recognize you. Cool. Houses are often a found family and actively provide their members with support, ranging from workspaces to financial aid to accommodation. Cool. I'm just processing that. Give me a second. Sorry. There are houses that have a more business-like structure, which can sometimes be a point of contention in the scene. Interesting. Of course, no house is perfect. Sometimes members will find their goals drift from their houses and leave. A house leader could be inexperienced, selfish, or cruel, putting other members in danger. Some houses operate exclusively in self-interest and abuse the people and land around them to get what they want. Okay, so the point is that there is a system in place, a not governmental, but a cultural system in place that can be used for extreme good. To this point here that got me a little emotional is this actively providing their members with support, ranging from workspaces to financial aid to accommodation. However, that system is not infallible too, because all it takes is individual people to try to take advantage of it, be not so great. and then you get what you get, you know? So you are going to have this sounds like maybe it's like, oh, you know, wonderful Center City utopia, and everybody's going to come here and find acceptance. It's like, well, there's still going to be conflict here. We're going to try to sort it out and make sure that we're fighting for the spaces that we want to create. Anyway, that's my vibe right now. As a table, we're on boldface here. As a table, it is assumed that all player characters belong to the same house to begin with. Interesting caveat. They're not saying you have to stay there. Whether that stays true is yet to be seen. I did it again. This is what I do when I read PDFs. I read something, I have a thought, and I'm like, ooh, here's the thought. And then the next sentence is the thought that I just said. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I could just keep reading. Turf. Collecting so much psychic energy in one place has side effects. When a group of espers really resonate with each other, reality itself becomes a touch more flexible. Well-established houses can feel a connection to their neighborhood. They can speak to the city, and the city will reply. That's so beautiful. This is colloquially known as turf, the area of land that resonates most strongly with a house. In this way, espers can intuitively know when something's wrong in the local area. Ugh, gosh, that's cool. What a cool setup. That's so cool. Have I told you guys that's cool? That's cool. How a house uses their turf connection can vary for every house that uses that resonance. Oh, got it. That resonance. To find and solve local troubles, others use it to shape the city to better fit their own vision. Yeah. Some only care about spreading their influence as wide as possible, though such ambition has consequences. Now, I wonder if there's an element here of groups that probably should be sticking together, fighting each other. If you know what I mean, if you know, then you know. Maybe let's all stand together, because the people that hate us hate all of us, no matter what kind of thing we are. Yeah. Yes, you did. I thought you meant mechanically, and maybe it is too. But I didn't realize that the idea, it's like, you know what it's like that is? It's like the magical fonts from Pumpkin Spice. It's kind of like that. Kind of a lot. So maybe this is another trend that we're going to see continue in I don't know that I would call this a cozy game, but you know, the more open, accepting, you know, emotion related games where it's going to be about making a safe place, like not just physically but energetically and emotionally and all that stuff. So yeah. Here we go. Esper battles. Started as a way for houses to safely use their psychic abilities and let off some steam without spilling blood, Esper battles are rapidly gaining popularity as a spectator sport. An Esper battle can be any team challenge, from a from a dance-off to a street race to a no-holds-barred brawl. That's so much different than I thought it was going to be. Because again, I was thinking pro bending. I'm like, yeah, you use your psychic powers to do psychic things. Sorry, I had to take my girl drugs. Esper Ball, a psychic-powered fusion of basketball and dodgeball, is seriously gaining ground with younger espers. Basketball and dodgeball sounds like a fun combo. Houses challenged on their own turf are usually given the right to choose the nature of the match and will often use their turf to shape unique arenas and battle conditions. Now, okay, presumably you do these challenges, and then the turf shifts to the winner. So it's like playing an anti-game system in old-school Magic the Gathering. You know, you do the duel, but like you put up a card for the winner. While houses have made all sorts of wagers on Esper battles, the official line is that it's for bragging rights first and foremost. A city-funded Esper Battle League is in its debut year, organized and internationally broadcast by the House of Oracle, who made our kind, welcoming promotional video at the beginning of the book. There are still plenty of unsanctioned Esper battles, though, and not all of them are so friendly. Great to reclaim turf. Yeah. Good call. Good catch. I didn't think of it in that layer as well. That's great. Wow, my brain did not want to parse those letters. There were too many straight lines up and down. Telling stories. In Center City. Okay, there we go. City of Espers is a game about city living at its best and its worst. A campaign can be a thrilling and frivolous tournament for the Esper Battle League Cup. A morally complicated and emotional exploration of outsiders doing what's necessary to protect their community from violent oppressors, or anything in between. The flow of stories in City of Espers moves between the daily life of a house and supernatural action, whether that be in a stadium or in the streets. It might help to look at a session as an episode of a television show Work as a table to make choices and move things forward, build explosive openings and emotional endings, and find joy and community in a world that can be seriously tough. Okay, all right, okay. I'm realizing now something that you could do, that I could do, is you could take City of Espers, Center City, and you could make it a series playset for Girl by Moonlight. You play this game, and you could make... Maybe I'll do it. Should I do it? I should do it. Someday. That'd be fun. That would be fun. I don't know how that would work, though. Because it's, somebody else's IP. But that would be neat. That would be very cool. I got that thought because of this line made me think of Girl by Moonlight. But also episode of a television show, and then work as a table to make choices and move things forward, build explosive openings and emotional endings, and find joy and community in a world that can be seriously tough. This is telling you to be in the director stance. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. I have so many things I need to do. I know. I got to make a list. I wanted to make a playset for myself. I got to make a playset out of this game. I could make all the playsets. Maybe every game that I've reviewed, I'll make a Girl by Moonlight playset for, and then I'll release an anthology of Girl by Moonlight playsets. And then also be like, and go check out the game this was inspired by, Feed each other. Could be fun. But yeah, director stance, okay? And okay, we've been through this before. We're going to go through it briefly again. Stance theory came up, and there are articles written about it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I have not read the source material. I have found a mental model that works really well for me, and I use it, and it works really well. And they are actor stance, author stance, director stance. These are, let me put my fingers in frame, these are the three methods that I'm comfortable with that delineate how you make choices for a character. If you make a choice for a character by primarily appealing to what the character wants based off of what you know about them, what you've established about them, and you are thinking about it through the character's wants, needs, and desires, that is the actor stance. If you are making decisions for the character based off of what you, the player, want, you want a certain outcome, you want to see a certain thing play out, you want to engage with a certain challenge. If the primary consideration is what you want, that is author stance. If the primary consideration is something like this, working as a table together, building explosive openings, etc., and you are thinking of what's best for the group as a whole, what's best for the story as a whole, if your decision is primarily made using that lens, that's considered director stance. Where I see people get confused about this is, well, you could be in an author stance, but you, the player, could choose that you care more about what the player wants. But that's what I want, is what the player wants. And I'm like, well, you just happen to have an overlap in your personal application of the author stance. But if it's your choice and you're focusing on your choice, that is author stance. And these different stances can have the exact same outcome. You could run a character choice through all three and come up with the same answer. And then you're like, well, then it's all three. No, it's not. It's about the primary decision-making factor. So this is encouraging you to think in what we call writer's room games, where you're all collaborating together and you're like, what if this, what if this, what if this? Okay, that's great. Let's take the scene in this direction, and I'll have my character say this thing so that we can arrive at this story beat together. That's director stance. It's not telling you explicitly to do that, and I'm sure you can do the others. In fact, I know you can. So, okay, rant over. Sorry. We're already through 10 pages. Look at us go. Sensitive topics and safety tools. Knowing what stories everyone at the table is excited to tell is vital. Using safety tools can facilitate this, making use of systems outside the game to highlight topics players aren't comfortable encountering during play, and ways to safely resolve things if an unpleasant topic is accidentally struck upon. You know what I figured out about my microphone, Depriest? If you're still here, I just realized I turned on my other setting so that it still picks up my voice when it's not as close, because I was playing around with that. So actually, thank you for that. When I listen back to this, I'll see how I like it, because I forgot that I changed the setting. Because otherwise, it would not pick up my voice nearly as good when I turn my head or anything like that. So I'm trying this one out. Anyway, sorry. When used effectively, this does more than just avoid upsetting content. It can allow players to wholeheartedly engage with tricky subjects as they're prepared to encounter it, rather than being surprised by it. This is probably not that novel or new, but it is new to me. Sometimes I skip over these safety tool concepts because, there's a lot to go through, and we've seen a lot of safety tools before, and if you know kind of the general ideas of them, they generally apply across the board. But maybe if I read more of them, I would have seen this sooner. I don't know that I've seen safety encouragements talk about how that allows you to dig in deeper to the things that you have opted into. I know that there's like the red light, yellow light, green light. This is what we don't want to see. This is what we do want to see and actively engage with. But I like the way this is worded. That it actually creates space for you to actively engage with tricky subjects. So I really appreciate that. Multi-system campaign, yeah, could be. We recommend using lines and veils when creating characters and the script change RPG toolbox during play. This one I actually first heard about, what's his name? Oh, shoot. Lowell something, who runs Age of Ravens games. And he has run multiple Girl by Moonlight playthroughs. He has actually made content for Girl by Moonlight, and this was his preferred safety tool of choice, the script change, I think. Actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, I think actually he used a totally different one. But this is the one where it's like, edit, cut, leave it on the cutting room floor, go back, whatever. Let's redo that, take it from the top. So these safety tool models, sometimes they use language of a familiar mental model so that you feel comfortable bringing it up. Lines and veils, of course, very common. Lines, things that you don't want to see, don't cross this line. And veils, these things can be happening in the narrative, but I don't want to see it play out. So we can just fade to black and then just say, okay, that happened. It could be intimate encounters, it could be violent encounters, it could be anything, genuinely. But yeah. Yes. Of specific relevance to City of Espers, it's worth discussing if the table want to encounter the following during play. So they're giving you the specifics of a couple ideas. We'll skim this quickly. Bloody violence and death, mind invasion and loss of agency. This one is a huge one for me. Oh, that creeps me out. Gang warfare and policing. Houses aren't inherently hostile to each other, nor are they equivalent to criminal organizations, but your table may find aggressive clashes over turf or fighting against people who abuse their community's existing. Xener City has police, but how close to real life is the table comfortable with? If they are seen abusing their power, is it against vulnerable people or those able to fight back? In these rules, aspects that relate to these subjects are isolated and can be omitted. By default, City of Espers is a brighter reflection of the real world. Nice. While retaining the capacity to have cruel people in it, but your table's Xener City is always the canon one. It's a good shout out there. That is a good shout out. I have to put my hair up because it is hot in here. It is a hot morning. And we'll see if I can do this while streaming and not look like a hot mess. Get it good enough. Good enough. All right. City of Espers as a player. Dream big, take chances. See your story as a high-budget action cartoon and tell it like a film director. There's going to be a side rant about this in a second. Okay. Your characters will survive both good and bad choices, so live dangerously. This is great. Okay. High-budget action cartoon, tone. Tell it like a film director. We often have very long discussions about names for the Game Master, and I saw this game already used Game Master, and I was like, good for you. Use Game Master. Game Master is, to me, the broadest umbrella of what you want to call the person sitting in that chair. We don't need to speak about the name for the chair. But it is giving you advice here, tell it like a film director, to the point where there are games that call the Game Master the director. This would be a game where I would say, absolutely, plug that one in there. That's good, because if the name for the person in that role informs you about how you are supposed to apply your judgments and your proceedings of the game, then great. But I do absolutely chafe against the names that go off into like weirdo land, where it's like, I'm the cornucopia of tales, and I'm like, oh God, please do not be the cornucopia of tales. Thank you. But here, your characters will survive both good and bad choices. This is going to be a challenge in a way. This is kind of in that Powered by the Apocalypse mindset of like, it's not about succeeding at every roll. It's about finding the story in the failures as well. Failing forward is a concept that's applied universally across the board, definitely in trad spaces. You failed your D20 roll. How do I make that still progress the story forward? But these more narrative-driven games have taken that a step further and been like, no, like, please fail. Like, here, we'll give you an experience point if you fail, so that you don't feel so bad about it, so that you don't avoid it with every fiber of your being, and you actually allow yourself to immerse into the story, the game, the whatever that you're creating. You're making a creation. RPGs are live art creation. Okay. Look beyond the binary. City of Espers is, among other things, a game about queer culture and community. It's both joyful and fraught, and Espers are constantly growing to understand themselves and those they care about. However you do it, welcome otherness with open arms. Simple and to the point. I love it. Let's take a moment and let's read that section in Girl by Moonlight. It's in the player agenda, I believe. Yes, page 29. In Girl by Moonlight, the section says, see things through a queer lens. Queer content enriches the experience of play and is fundamental to the themes and the inner workings of this game, Girl by Moonlight. The protagonists are uncertain and fluid in their identities and defy monolithic cultural expectations concerning gender and relationships. Antagonism will echo these themes as well, showing tragic outcomes of the same journey or dysfunctional, selfish reflections of the ideals the protagonists are pursuing. This queer lens extends beyond identity, ways of being, to include ways of acting and seeing. Look for ways to reframe the stakes and possible outcomes of conflict, to include mending, care, and connection. Humanize and embrace the other. Reject limiting binaries, and explore more complicated answers to questions of identity, love, and community. So, more of this in City of Espers, and I'm glad to see it. Overcome odds with tactics and teamwork. When action scenes start, you can overcome serious odds with a little planning. Predict opponent actions, set up your allies, and you'll go far. Why do you care about your house? Joining a house offers many things. Safety, purpose, adventure. What is it about the company you keep that has your character excited to get involved in the action? Why do you care about your city? A key question to answer for any urban fantasy game. There's something keeping your character around even if Zenner is somewhere they absolutely despise. Find those feelings about the world your character lives in and explore its depths. Okay, this is telling you, please make a character that cares. Going back to our stream that we did about lone wolves and wanderers, we explored some of the possible upsides. We explored some of the possible reasons why people are drawn to that trope. I'm the loner who doesn't care, but I happen to be here anyway. Very briefly start that, but get out of it as soon as you can, in my opinion. But definitely in this game, it's telling you, you need to care. This is a game about the found family. This is a game about the culture. This is a game about connection and teamwork and turf. So, it's so... I know. Guys, I know you know the channel. I know you know this is what we do. And we fixate on this stuff. And some people would probably look at the content that I make about works. And they would say, get on with it. Like, why are you belaboring this point? Like, they would just read through this and be like, okay, yeah, cool. My character's supposed to care. Great. And I'm like, please understand that somebody took the time to put these words on the page because they thought it was a worthwhile thing to do. And maybe like actively wrestle with that instead of just being like, oh, it's another game. It's not another game. It's City of Espers. It's a specific game. I'm very ranty today, but anyway. Good thing I like it. City of Espers as a game master. Let character goals guide you. The house and each Esper have a number of directives. They reflect the types of events and challenges the players want to see, so let them steer your storytelling. So, character goals, loose concept. Directives in a capital. Seems like a mechanical item. We will see. Reward creative use of psychic abilities. Espers are capable of much more than what the mechanical descriptions on their character sheets say. If players suggest the use of a psychic ability or item that makes logical sense, let them take a crack at it. This is OSR mentality. Not something I have a lot of experience with. In fact, the only experience I've had with it is fighting against a player who was trying to bring OSR mentality into Pathfinder 2. And I was like, stop. This is a game about like rigid mechanical expectations. Stop trying to be like clever. This is not the game of how clever are you. This game is and can be about how clever are you with your fun psychic powers. So, do it. Expect it. As the GM, prepare for this and empower your players with it. They might skim through this too quickly and not realize it, but say, hey, bring out the clever wrench, the clever hammer, whatever. Anyway, no community is completely peaceful. A house and their community are in a symbiotic relationship represented by their turf. For a garden to bloom, it must be properly cared for. Challenge that with disputes among neighbors, rival houses that push their luck, oppressive authorities trying to squash Esper efforts, etc. Take the mundane, make it weird. You know what this is? This is your GM agendas. I didn't clock it at first, but these are your GM agendas. So in a game, in Powered by the Apocalypse games, Forged in the Dark games, that go to the effort of telling you these are like the rules above the rules. These are the rules about how to use the rules, and that's why I find them so important. I was talking in chat with a bunch of people last night, which, by the way, if you're not a member of the London Station Patreon Discord community, we have a Discord community where there's a bunch of people that hang out, and they're very cool, wonderful people who vibe with this sort of game. And we frequently have voice chats going on in there where we're all talking to each other, getting to know each other, sharing experiences that have been brought up from, like, Thaddeus the other day was like, hey, I tried to do this Western game because I had a kind of a hitch to try a Western game, and I realized, you know what, I don't think I ever want to play a Western game again because there's a lot of problematic stuff going on in there. It was an interesting conversation. So that stuff happens all the time. Check out our Patreon, Discord, etc. It is inexpensive, and we would love to have you no matter how much support you give. So, GM agendas, yes. Take the mundane, make it weird. City living is always a little strange. That one guy everyone's seen, the tiny shop that's been there for decades, the nameless statue filled with superstition. People with supernatural powers make it all even weirder. Look for the everyday unusual and run with it. I love that phrase, too. I've talked about this before. I took an English course in college called, I forgot what it's called. I didn't forget last time I talked about it, but I forgot this time. Aspects of the Everyday, I think it was what the class was called. And it was reading specific styles of literature that really focused down on the everyday, the mundanity of it, and how it's actually kind of quite fascinating. Like in this one book we read, the character literally describes step by step how they tie their shoelaces. And it makes you go like, huh, that is something I've kind of taken for granted. You learn it, it's muscle memory, you do it. But it was like actually having the character's internal thoughts, like, I placed the right lace over the left lace. I know what you're thinking. You're like, wow, this sounds like the driest, most boring thing ever. But it's actually fascinating in the difference in perspective that it gives you. You know, talking about, you know, stepping onto the escalator and all the moving parts that go into making an escalator work. It gives you this sort of like appreciation for the world in a weird way. Now, this is saying take these ideas and punch them up to the extreme, but also, you know, the everyday unusual. Because what it's saying is city living is always strange. This game adds supernatural powers to make it even weirder, but don't ignore the everyday unusual. That's going to color your city and your world in this game. So try and do that. Sports camaraderie meets anime action. For action sequences and Esper battles, let everyone go all out on describing how stylish things look. In our imaginations, the animation budget is infinite. That's cute. Encourage sportsmanship in the aftermath of an Esper battle, no matter who wins. I like that. Opening number system overview. Let me make sure that's not okay. Not a two-page spread. The deck and card checks. City of Espers is played with a pack of playing cards. Remove the jokers from the deck. Deck is communal. Place it where everyone can reach it with a space next to it for discarded cards. Fun. Each player starts a session with a hand of 5 cards from the deck. Whenever an Esper attempts something with an uncertain outcome, they usually play a card to do so. The value of a card is aiming to beat a card played by an opponent or a target number set by the GM or stated on an ability. I have questions. I already have questions. How are the opponents getting cards? Are we doing PvP, or does the GM also have a hand, or are they top decking what the opponents are doing? We'll find out. But anyway, or it could just be a TN set by the GM or stated on an ability. I already like this. This is already fun because you now have this resource management aspect of the game. You have thematically this idea of like you do the best you can with the cards you're dealt, which is relevant to thematically everything we've seen so far, if you ask me. And I believe in some chat, well, I saw chat in the 3 Sales Studios Discord, actually. Thaddeus was in a conversation briefly with some of the people there, and they were talking about how, like, you can kind of card count, and you can know what cards have come out and gone into the discard pile, and so you start to get a sense for, like, what's left in the deck, if you're that kind of person, which I am. And then you can actually emulate being psychic, having psychic abilities with knowing what's left in the deck at a certain point. To whatever degree you're good at doing that sort of thing, there's an opportunity for you to actually bring that in to the game itself, which is cool. Face cards are valued as 11. Aces have a value of 1 unless they are played in opposition to a face card where they have a value of 13. Essentially, aces trump faces. The GM can set whatever target number they deem appropriate, but as a guideline, suggestion for difficulty, easy, 5, normal, 8, challenging, 11, daunting, 14. So we're going to be adding modifiers, you can tell, because we can't do higher than a 13 as rules are stated currently. That's our max. It's also neat to see like what the math looks like, because I'm so used to dice resolution mechanics, where you can say like, okay, if you're rolling 2d6, like 7 is a key number because that's where the bell curve meets in the middle. If you're rolling 3d6, apparently, well, the average is 10.5, but the curve looks a little different because you have a third dice in there, whole thing. And so your Blue Rose games, which I've been studying, you know, your average difficulty is 11. Here, your normal difficulty is an 8. And let's think about that. You've got 13 cards in a suit, and aces are going to go high, so you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if it's meter beat, then you've got 6 cards that are going to fail. You got 8, 9, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4 face cards. So you have a, oh God, I can't look at my fingers right now, 7. So you have 6 cards that'll fail, 7 cards that'll pass on a normal difficulty, unmodified. It's a little bit lower than your typical average dice resolution, but it depending on how the modifiers shake out, where a lot of games are designed around the, like, if you're kind of like barely trained in something, you're at like that 60% efficacy, and then when you get like really trained, you get up to like 80%. But that's 60 to 80. That's where a lot of games balance is designed. It's pretty rare that you have games where you can just blow something out of the water and get to that 100%, because people are looking for the nat 1s as much as they're looking for the nat 20s in games, and failing can be as exciting as succeeding. So there's always a chance, just like there's always a chance to succeed when, you know, you have a challenging target number. But again, depending on what the modifiers look like, it's going to push that curve left or right. So we'll find out. Resolving ties. When playing a card against a target number, matching the target number counts as a success. Okay, so it's meter beat. When defending against an attack, the attacking party will win the tie, encouraging aggression. Assertion. Assertion is probably a better word for this game. In a situation where people are racing to do the same task, ties are resolved by the suit of the card played in alphabetical order. So we have trump suits built in for tie breaking. Clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades. If that still doesn't solve it, then the parties manage the task at the same time. Another check might be necessary to resolve their simultaneous struggle. Discard pile and refreshing hands. Once played, a card is sent to the discard pile next to the deck. When a player has played all of the cards in their hand, they draw from the deck until they have 5 cards again. This will mean sometimes you're left with unideal cards to play. Finding the right time to fail is essential. That reminds me of Fiasco. That reminds me of Fiasco. But yeah, you will need to use the cards as they are dealt to you. You will not necessarily be dealt all winning cards. And so your story will have the ebbs and flows of simple statistics. And you will have highs and lows. We'll see how much you can optimize around those. But yeah, seems good to me. If someone draws from the deck and there are no cards left, shuffle up the discard pile to become the new deck. And then draw cards as normal. Playing cards as the game master. Here we go. In low pressure situations, the GM does not need to play cards. This is your simple resolution, we would say. In many games, in Legend of the Mist, it's called simple resolution. You don't need to go to the dice. You don't need to go to the resolution system. You simply decide what happens. Oh man, you are going to love the mechanical interactions between the turfs and the card suits. I love it already. That sounds fast. That sounds wonderful. However, in situations where a person is opposing the players rather than the environment, where a person is opposing rather than the environment is opposing, the GM can play the top card of the deck to represent their efforts, or draw a hand of 5 cards themselves in more involved action sequences. So we have simple, quick, and detailed resolution, just like in Legend of the Mist. Simple. You don't even need to play a card. Okay. Well, the players do, I think. Maybe the GM doesn't. If you're going to have opposition, a quick resolution, they're just going to top deck. They're going to be like, it is what it is. And in a more detailed or important sequence, they're going to draw a hand of 5. It's interesting. It's kind of like, that'd be like your boss fight, right? So it's like, oh no, the GM's drawing 5 cards. Like there's cool stuff you can do with this for the vibe at the table. And then presumably when that encounter is resolved, they're going to discard those 5. I don't think they're going to keep and maintain a hand of 5 throughout the gameplay, but we'll see if it specifies that. All right, 2-page spread. Here we go. Esper attributes. Espers have 4 attributes: burn, flow, volt, and hold. These attributes have values between 1 and 4. Burn, creativity and accuracy. See clearly and always hit your mark. Flow, flexibility, and athleticism. Conduct your body like an orchestra. Volt, might and insight. Think quickly and collide fiercely. And hold, focus, and resolve. Keep your cool among the chaos. Those are fun. I like those. Often players will add the value from one of their attributes to the value of a card played from their hand. Attribute names go on feeling more than literal description. If a task or the GM doesn't call for a specific attribute, use whatever feels right. If nothing fits, use no modifiers. AKA, burn does not mean you're doing fire magic all the time. This is the same. Again, back to Girl by Moonlight. It's the game I know best outside of, your trad games. Your actions are analyze, conceal, confess, defy, empathize, express, flow, forgive, and perceive. And the temptation is, well, I'm fighting something, so I guess I'll use defy. That would be the wrong way to play this game. If you ever want to pick this game up, that's the wrong way to do it. You can punch something with any single one of these, because Girl by Moonlight is saying these attributes are about your emotional approach to the thing you're doing. So how do you punch somebody with confess? That's part of the puzzle of playing the game and getting the most out of it. And of course, if you have a character that has a high confess rating, you are going to want to figure out how to solve that puzzle so you can be effective. Here, similar idea. It's not just about, like, Volt is not just like, I'm going to cast a lightning spell. It's about the energy behind the word, right? The Volt is like the, I don't know what that sound effect was. Sorry, but it conveys Volt to me, so that's what you get. You get a bang. What a day I'm having. Espers have an additional stat on top of their 4 main attributes. Stamina, how much damage and stress an Esper can take before collapsing. Damage and stress combined, like Fortune is combined in Wardens of the Blue Rose. Hold plus flow plus 2. Interesting. Espers at 0 stamina are knocked out, not dead, though KO'd Espers can be killed if directly attacked. Now that's going to be a significant moment. That's your coup de grace power as the GM, I guess. Let's get back to the one-pager. Let's click around until I learn how to do it again. Okay. Abilities and gear. You wouldn't be playing as psychics if you didn't have cool psychic powers. Espers have psychic abilities that are activated by playing a card of a specific suit and of a minimum value. Creative uses of abilities are encouraged. Psychic abilities often have a stated potential effect for both narrative and action scenes, but if the table agrees it makes sense for an ability to do something, it does. So again, we're back in that OSR mindset. If you have a thing that can shoot a lightning bolt and it says lightning bolt does 5 damage, just random stuff coming out of my mouth. Lightning bolt does 5 damage, but you say, can I shoot my lightning bolt at the radio tower to disable its communications for enough time for us to get away from them to broadcast the signal? And people go like, yeah, that makes sense. Then you do it. That's a very simple example, but Espers also carry gear. Oh no. I'm not a gear person, but we'll see. Coming in, melee, ranged, and gadget varieties of melee weapon is needed to make close range attacks. Likewise, ranged for long range attacks, gadgets don't enable any abilities, but if they're used in a check, their total value is increased by 1. That's simple. That's simple and straightforward. I can get on board with that. Gear is made unique with a set of tags that modify the results of actions or open up all new tricks an Esper can take during action scenes. Though Espers can make multiple actions a turn, they can only use each gear once per turn. Great. Carry multiple gear of the same type for multiple strikes or shots. Do they get used up? Carry multiple gear of the same type. Oh. Okay, got it. They can use each gear once per turn, not you can only use 1 gear per turn. Got it. I was misreading that. Stamina, KOs, and character death. When an Esper's stamina hits 0, they are knocked out. Collapsing from physical or mental stress, they can no longer play cards for checks or abilities or move without assistance when a narrative scene or action sequence concludes. All KO'd characters recover all of their stamina. Nice. Injured characters can recover their stamina if they can find somewhere safe to rest. So KO'd get it back for free, but injured characters have to narratively do it, I guess. Interesting. I might be misunderstanding that. If all allied Espers are KO'd, they are put in a rough position. Yeah, you think? The next scene might see them kicked out of the building they're infiltrating, captured and hauled elsewhere, or simply back at their home base licking their wounds. Okay. So it's kind of, you wake up in the Pokemon Center, right? Character death can be included in your game if desired by the players. Session 0. Talk about it. A KO'd character can be attacked with intent to kill them. Killing a KO'd character requires 2 successful attacks at TN 14. So they still got to earn it. I wonder if opposing characters also use the same system of stamina and KO and everything, so that the players as well have to succeed those checks to kill another character. I don't know. Let's find out. Mother has arrived. Before creating your group of Espers, work as a table to determine the house they all belong to. Members of a house all share a vibe, an aesthetic that they are recognized by. Perhaps they all carry musical instruments. Perhaps they all wear purple business suits. For a table's first session or for one-shots, all you need is to determine the house's name and vibe. Answer the following questions as a table, then include the house name and vibe on your character sheets. So there is a guided thing here, which is great. I love these. What 2 colors does every member wear? What genre of music do they listen to? I feel like, you know who I feel like would love this? Just because of this question. I feel like men would love this. Is there a shared hobby or job among the members of your house? When a member of the house enters a room, how do outsiders react? What would an emblem representing your house look like? And what's your house's vibe in 1 to 3 words? That's cool. I also, generally like media that takes on the whole house membership thing in a franchise other than the one that has dominated. What house are you in? I got to have a fun "what house are you in" conversation at work the other day, and I was like, are we not all on the same page about... Guess we're not. Guess we're not all on the same page about how terrible that person is. Okay. Anyway. Death of the author, blah, blah, blah. I get it. When you're actively opposing cultures and communities, that you don't get a pass for that from me. Sorry. House questions. How long ago was your house formed? What kind of person founded the house? How does the house look? What does the operations look like? Form of self-expression. Do they value? This is cool. What action or behavior does the house forbid? These are like, again, I keep going back to Girl by Moonlight because I'm finding so much synergistically between them. There are very different games already. They have very different identities, very different mechanics, and all of that. But they are, touching on a lot of that. The expression, what is sacred, what is profane, and then creating that so that your characters can exist in this narrative framework of knowing where they stand in the world. How does the local neighborhood feel about your house? Who or what has the house been struggling with lately? And what's the name of your house? This just seems fun. I would just love a session to just sit down and make a cool, psychic, turf war house in a cool city. House directives. Houses aren't totalitarian enterprises, usually, but the members often have aligned goals reflecting their values or the activities they regularly take part in. These are called directives. So directives are aligned goals, values, or regular activities. Those are directives. It is a short sentence. A good house directive will be something that house members would be inclined to do regularly and takes some effort or organization to complete. So, there is something here about embracing who you are. This is not asking you to be aspirational. This is who I want to be. This is who others want me to be. This is who my parents want me to be. This is saying that your character exists in a house that is already aligned with what they are inclined to do. And achieving it through the power of friendship. Wow. As a group, choose 2 directives. Use examples from the list below or make up your own. Who needs a soundboard, right? All Espers that are part of the house will have the chosen directives. So these are examples. Secure money for the house coffers. Help a resident of your turf with a problem. Create a work of art. Show an outsider you're not to be messed with. Throw a kick-ass party. Earn respect through stellar achievement. Fix something broken. Gain new fans with your antics. These are also kind of similar to, because this one right here made me think of our Temple of Shellin in our Pathfinder game. And made me think of religions in fantasy games. Religions in Pathfinder, anyway, have a mechanical aspect called edicts. These are the things you are supposed to do. And if you're not doing them, that's a problem. And then they have anathemas. These are the things you're not supposed to do. And if you do those, there's a problem. But so these directives are kind of like the custom ad hoc created edicts for your house. Like it. It's not necessarily like Pathfinder. I'm just making connections with things that I know. Non-player house members. A house can be any size, and it's likely that there are more members than just the player characters. We have chosen to not establish strict rules about creating non-player members, but the following might be useful in managing the size and detail of your campaign's cast. Who is the house leader? Among our example characters, Lyra is the leader of her house. She's the fiery, sparkly-eyed one on the cover. She's great to play as if a player wants to explore the drama of keeping a group together. It's me. Or the GM might use her as a way to deliver plot hooks to the table. Character relationships. Player characters start with an established relationship with another character. See creating your Esper on page 22 for the details. Let's look at the character sheet for 1 second. Look, we have relationships. Bam, right there. Friend, arrival, and details. Not too much here. So it might just be that there's not a ton of mechanics to this, or it might be something like invoke that relationship to get a plus whatever to your next card you play. Something of the sort. All right. NPCs with these relationships are perfect for getting included in the drama, giving the players good cause to get involved. I know a guy. Sometimes you need to call in a specialist, and sometimes that specialist is from your own house. For houses with a large number of members, the GM or the players can declare that there's a member of the house with a particular skill set that the players lack. However, it might be more narratively juicy for the players to journey further afield for help. Good general advice. Arrivals and departures. Nothing is fully static in Xener City. As your house makes a name for itself, outsiders who share your vision may ask to come on board, or members who have diverged in their goals may step away. At the end of sessions, consider as a table if the house's members are due to change. It could make for a great plot hook next session. I'm going to write an article about something very much like this. Once again, happened in the Pathfinder game. I had a character who is leaving one church for another, and it made for a really interesting story beat. Getting up. With your house established, just who are you? Making a character is simple, but if you enjoy more detailed customization, you can go in depth with gear and psychic abilities. Feel free to start wherever inspiration strikes. If you already know what your Esper's powers are, go for it. Building characters as a table is strongly recommended, especially when it comes to choosing personal goals and relationships. Get dramatic from the start. Okay. Creating your Esper. Generating abilities, or attributes rather, sorry. As a game about psychics, it only makes sense to start with a little bit of luck and foresight. You'll need the deck of cards to determine your Esper's starting attributes. Random generation. Okay. Players can either generate their characters together, ensuring no cards are duplicated, or shuffle up the deck for each character. It's up to you. Shuffle the deck and lay a spread of 5 face down. You may flip over 2 of the cards. After doing so, you may discard any number of cards and replace them with that many from the deck. Flip all cards in the spread face up and consult the following chart for the attribute table it represents. Is it by suit then? Okay, I'll just read it. Ace to 3 is a 1, 4 to 7 is a 2, 8 to 10 is a 3, Jack to King is a 4. I do like this little mini game of like, you can look at 2 of the cards, and if you hate them or they're low, you get rid of them. It's kind of like your 46 drop low, but with cards, kind of. Choose which values are assigned to Volt, Flow, Burn, and Hold with 1 card left over. So you have 5 cards, you're going to assign each one, and you have 1 left over. Your stamina is equal to your Hold plus your Flow plus 2. Okay. If you'd like to avoid relying on luck, assign values of 1, 2, 2, 3 to your Esper's 4 main attributes in any order. So you can have an array. I don't know. I'd probably flip the cards. It sounds fun. If you're going to have a game that's not severely based on like this extremely tight balance, then maybe it's fun to just, even if you're a weaker character, this seems like a system where it would be like it's still going to be fun to play even if you're a weaker character, but maybe not. I don't know. Esper gear. Melee gear that could be used as a close range weapon, uses Volt to attack, defended against with Hold. Oh, neat. Ranged gear that could be used as a long-range weapon, uses Burn to attack, defended against with Flow. And gadget, non-weapon gear, it gives +1 bonus to checks that it's used in. Has to make narrative sense, of course. Gear can be any object you can think of, and can belong to any type, if it makes sense. For example, a melee-type electric guitar could be swung like a club, a ranged type could launch sonic blasts, and a gadget type could be custom-tuned for a beautiful sound. This is fun. Remember that stamina represents both physical and emotional resilience. If you choose to, a piece of melee gear could give more oomph to your insults rather than act as a physical weapon. Okay, I got it. Basically, every attack could be physical or emotional. Because like with the Sage system, with the use of fortune mechanics, fortune is a pool of 20, it goes up from there. But that is your resource that you use for your health. It's also your resource that you use to like push things, but it represents your overall health in a sense of like the thing that takes you from whatever number to 0 is the one that actually matters. That's the one that takes you out, whether that's through physical violence or oppression, or the final insult that like brings shame upon you and makes you leave the gala or the ball or whatever. It's a tool of narrative health in that way. So not quite to that extreme, but saying that stamina is both this physical and emotional resilience. So again, when you go down, you could go down to a physical attack or you could go down to an emotional attack. Gear is modified with tags that provide additional effects. These give color and customization to their everyday use, as well as some tactical advantage during action scenes. An Esper can carry up to 3 pieces of gear. One piece of gear can have up to 3 tags at once and cannot have the same tag twice. When creating a new Esper, select 2 pieces of gear and apply up to 3 tags across them. This is actually kind of reminiscent of the way that gear works in The Last Caravan, where, there's a certain amount of load that you can carry. Once your gear is complete, be sure to give it a cool name. Here's the tags. Okay, gear tags. Attuned. Pick a suit. Checks made with this gear. Using that suit, increase the check's value by 1. So you're going to get a 1 for using it, and then you're going to get an extra 1 if you get the right suit because it's attuned to a particular suit. Chromatic. Targets hit with this gear are covered in paint, preventing sneaking or parkour until your next turn. Okay, parkour is an action. Nice. You could probably reflavor this if you want. Paint or like, dancing lights or glitter or like whatever. Digital. This gear can interface with computers. You may use it to move or operate an electronic device on a TN 11 volt check. And you're going to get a +1 to do it. This is interesting. Does this give you permission to move or operate an electronic device? Whereas if you don't have this tag, are you presumed to not be able to do it? Probably not, because we are in that sort of OSR be clever mentality. So it probably is not limiting. It's probably not prescriptive. We'll see. Musical. Once per session, you may give away a point of tempo. Another keyword. By playing. TN11 burn check. Give away a point of tempo. Okay. We gotta keep tempo in mind. We gotta keep parkour in mind. Voyaging. This gear can be ridden as a vehicle. Parkour checks are made at +1. I love that. I'm immediately imagining a hover bike, like going across rooftops. And this also reminds me of a character in the Dreadnought book series, which is a young trans character superhero story that is really good. And the 3rd book is actively being proofread of the trilogy, so I'm excited about that. But anyway, there's a character who she's like this like Western gunslinger persona, and she like has a motorcycle that she rides like all through the city, and that's just made me think of it. Woven. This gear is incorporated into your Esper's outfit. This gear cannot be disarmed. Handy. Plasmic. This gear is made of or uses energy to do its thing. When opposing something armored, checks are made at +2. Miasmic. When used, this gear releases smoke or mist. Until the end of a round, checks to attack in the targeted zone are made at -1. These are neat. The rules at the beginning said that there's going to be elements of like tactical decision making to this, and I'm seeing it now come through with the gear. So I think this is really neat. Oversized. Deals 1 extra damage. You cannot move or parkour in the same turn as using this gear. Stylish. This gear is custom tailored to draw attention. When used in social situations, this gear provides +1 to the check. Emergency. Once per session, when using this gear, choose 1 as an extra effect, +3 to a check. You or your target gain a tempo point, or you or your target recovers 2 stamina. Tethering. Lower the difficulty of traversing an obstruction by 2, or tag a person until your next turn. If they move to a zone, you also move to that zone. That's cool. That's very cool. It's like the, keep up reactions in certain games. Draw Steel is what I'm thinking of. I think my character in Draw Steel had an ability like this, where it was like, if they move away, but you've done this thing, like you get to move with them. It's pretty cool. Haunted. Once per session, you may make a TN11 burn check to ask the consciousness in this gear for helpful insight in a situation. And spiked. When specifically resisting a close attack, the attacker takes 1 damage. Neat. Presumably, these may be expanded in the full release, or that may be all of them. There's quite a lot. But that is a design space that is open for more potentially. Now, I'm going to go back up to this. When creating a new Esper, select 2 pieces of gear and apply up to 3 tags across them. Okay. So there's a significant portion of your character creation that is going to relate to how and when and what you choose to do with this gear. So it is important to the game. Very important. Psychic abilities. All Espers start with 1 psychic ability. Newly created characters with 7 or fewer points across their 4 attributes may start with a 2nd psychic ability. Ah, I love it. So because the game has random ability generation, attribute generation rather, if you come in with a low amount, then you get a 2nd psychic ability right out of the gate as a consolation, which is neat because now you can have characters who are better attribute-wise, but characters who are less better can do more versatility with having an additional ability. And to the point of the random character generation, you put the 5 cards out. If you flip 2 up and they're high cards, but you want to play a character with 2 abilities, you can actually ditch the high cards and try to aim for dropping below 7. And I remember the points from the cards are 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think it was 10 to king was 4. So I didn't really do the math on the cards themselves, but I feel like your average, I mean, let's just say your average is 2.5 per card. You're going to have 4 cards and hold 1 off to the side. So, your average is going to be 10. So it's going to take a pretty bad pull to get 7 or fewer points. But yeah, I love that balancing for low stats as well. I agree with you. I think that's cool. That's just cool. Is it about stats or abilities, And you can have a different feel for the character in that way. To use a psychic ability, you must play a card from your hand. This card is played in addition to any other cards you might be playing, i.e. resolving a check. Okay. And I'm sure when this goes to pre-release, or sorry, not pre-release, quick start, potentially, and of course full release, it's going to have a lot of examples, which would be great. Because I would have loved to see some examples of gear, just to help think through it. This is a plasmic rifle that also has a radio antenna built into it, and it has these tags, and then you go like, okay, just get some creative juices flowing. So I would love to see that, and we're gonna see examples of all these things too, I'm sure. Psychic abilities often request a card of a specific suit and minimum value to use its effect. For example, to use the astral projection psychic ability, play a clubs card from your hand with a value of 3 or more. This is neat. This is such a neat way to do this. Because what this does is the minimums on the powers are a lever that Nathan can pull, riding this game, to determine the rarity of an effect seeing play. Because if the minimum is 5, then you've eliminated, aces go high, so you've eliminated 3 cards. And out of 52, you need, 1 of 10 out of 52. If the minimum is 7, then you've got 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, king, ace. You got 8 cards out of 52. So the minimums of the abilities are inherently telling you the rarity of seeing that ability in play, the rarity of seeing that ability in the world. And when you're watching the deck turn over and you're seeing, oh man, we've already burned through the 10 and the jack and the queen of clubs, and you're kind of like, I'm probably not going to see this ability come up potentially, Anyway, thoughts. Lots of thoughts. Remember that aces count as 1 unless they are played in opposition to a jack, queen, or king. Okay, so they are 1. I forgot that rule already. Have the right suit, but the value's too low, you can push yourself by playing an additional card to add to the total value. Pushing your psychic powers is dangerous, however, dealing yourself 2 damage. I like that push mechanic. It doesn't seem to have to be of the same suit. So, Everything I said earlier applies still, but yeah. Psychic abilities are flexible in nature, offering an effect useful for narrative sequences, and one suited for action sequences. Cool. You can freely use a psychic ability to add flavor to your narrative descriptions, e.g., an Esper with psychokinesis might float everywhere instead of walking. But when a psychic ability could have a significant impact on the scene, that's the time to play a card for it. Yeah. This is cool. This is a gamist mechanic, okay? To go into another rant, gamist, narrativist, simulationist, wherein mechanics are more interested in producing a effect in play than it is a gamist mechanic. This is a gamist mechanic. They're saying, look, do your cool psychic powers. They're not limited by mana points or spell slots or anything like that. You can do them all throughout the day. But when the shit goes down and we're starting to track things moment by moment, now you need to pay for the ability to use these, which represents the stress and strain of calling on them at the right time and the heightened sense of awareness you have to do it. So it's great. It's very cool. That is likely 1/3 of your stamina. Is it? Oh yeah, because stamina is hold flow +2. Yeah, it's a good point. And it is an interesting choice to make. I like it. Full descriptions of how each psychic ability works have their own section, page 31 to 33. But to summarize, club's abilities: astral projection, pyrokinesis. Wait, why do these have numbers next to them? Did I miss something? You have to actually draw the... I'm getting confused now. I'm sure it will clear itself up. So the 3 of clubs specifically is astral projection? Or is this saying the minimum is 3? This is the minimum? Because, like, that would suck if your minimum on tension burst is the king. It's very rare. Anyway. That's the minimum. Okay. So they're just like super powerful things that you can do. That's cool. Oh man. If there's a card trading mechanic in here, that would be wild. That would be wild. Okay. Making mental constructs. Espers who take the summoning psychic ability can manifest their subconscious to the physical world called a mental construct, taking on a broad range of appearances. They reflect the personality, desires, and sometimes even fears of the Esper they're born from. Summoning an ally to act on your behalf is useful, but like dreams, they're fleeting. They can only stick around for a short while before they dissipate. Espers who take summoning immediately build their mental construct. An Esper can only ever have one mental construct at a time, but can change it by spending experience. This is cool, kind of Eidolon style. Constructs are created using a point-buy system. Distribute 10 points among its attributes. This is a significant little subsystem, almost a class system, but it's not because it's about taking the ability. So this is kind of like build as you go. Very cool. So you create them using 10 points. Is there anything in here for constructs? Hold on. There is. Look at that. Mental construct. So maybe this is something that many people will spec into, and they have their own stats. Down here on the bottom right. Anyway, cool. As with Espers, mental constructs can't have abilities above 4. Unlike Espers, their stamina is decided by the points spent and is not calculated from attributes. Got it. So they're weaker. Did we see what manifest means? Did I skip that? I don't know that we saw what manifest means yet. Let's look for it in the old PDF search. Okay. Okay. Oh, God, it was right below there. All right. I did it again. Attack type covers whether the construct can make a melee or ranged attacks. It costs 1 point to choose either melee or ranged and 3 points to have both. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Manifest is an attribute unique to mental constructs, representing how many turns a mental construct can act before being dispelled. During narrative play, this represents how many card plays the construct can make before being dispelled. Do they have their own hand, I wonder? So you start with 1/1, and then you put 10 across any of these, I think, is the idea. Mental constructs are dispelled when their stamina or their summoner's stamina hits 0. Once dispelled, an Esper can use the summoning psychic ability again to bring the mental construct back into play. This is very much like Magi Nation ancient Game Boy Color game that I was very fond of. Very fun RPG. Really loved the way they did creatures and summoning. Really loved it. That would be a wild game to play on stream. Personal directives. Like the house directives that all members of a house share, Espers have their own personal directives. It's good to be self-motivated. Personal directives can be small. Excuse me. Small or large. Pick 2 from the examples below, or work with your GM to decide new ones custom made for your Esper. All right. We understand directives from the houses. We understand probably how these are going to work. Good examples. Relationship links. Very good. Your Esper could be new to Center City, but when you're part of a house, new relationships are forged quickly. To complete your Esper, establish a strong relationship with another character as a friend or a rival. These could be anyone in Center City within your house and beyond. Yes, we saw they could be NPCs, but they can also be PCs. When noting a relationship, write a short phrase that defines the context. It could be representative of your feelings, a key memory, or summarized with a trinket. Relationships are mutual. Both parties can use the effects they provide. During play, Espers can call upon their relationships for an extra edge on certain tasks. To use a relationship effect, the player spends a tempo point. Okay, so we were wondering earlier if relationships had a mechanical effect. They do. You can call on them like bonds. You spend a tempo point, which we haven't learned yet, and that's how those work. You know what other game uses links? Oh. In Girl by Moonlight, though, they are lost and refreshed every play cycle. You have to re-up them. Whereas these, well, we'll see. We'll see what the tempo is. The tempo is how you spend it. So maybe that is the mechanic through which we do this. Making miniatures of your Esper. You can use your miniature collection to play. Okay, we get it. We get it. You can use buttons. You can use pawns from other games. Ooh, you may even discover a City of Espers line of miniatures available to 3D print sometime in the future. Very clever. Very clever. That's cool. That is really fun. This is just fun. You know, how many tables are going to actually be able to physically sit together and do this with paints and have, you know, somebody in the group has a 3D printer? I don't know, but it's really cool. And it doesn't cost you anything to put these words here. So, I think that's neat. That is neat. Stand out. All right, here's the psychic abilities list. However, I need to go back. I need to go back because I don't remember how you choose them. All Espers start with 1. That's right. And they can learn up to 4. That's it. That is it. So we're probably not going to read through all of these. This is available to download. It's out there. I think the link... I don't know if I put the link to the pre-release document in the description, but I definitely put the link in the description to the publisher's page, the publisher's splash page for this game, and the pre-backer kit thing. And from there, that's where I got this, so you can get it. If you want to look at the specific abilities yourselves. But again, this is cool. Every power has a story side and a skirmish side. This is a debate that happens in games where it's like spells or feats or abilities are written out, and it's like, well, can I do what this line of descriptive text says? Because that implies I'd be able to use it in this way. Or is that just flavor text? And sometimes there's a tension there where it's not clear. Depending on how the publisher of any given game does the layout and the formatting for their abilities, it can be up in the air. I guess, and there's probably more games that do this, but I guess Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition was explicitly clear about what is flavor text and what is mechanical. This seems to be saying, yeah, this is the story side. It's like, yeah, it's flavor text, but it's also you can use it in that way outside of a skirmish. So this is like the best of all worlds, I think, is really cool. To have codified abilities, but also give you inspiration and freedom, and then also have a game that tells you, like, yeah, come up with whatever you want. As long as it makes sense, go for it. I keep thinking of Ben Andreas when I'm reading this game. I think he would really like this game. I think he would. Okay, abilities. You can do stuff, and we think stuff is cool, and you can read that in your own time. The living city, houses that establish a harmony between themselves and the local community can psychically awaken part of the city itself. Ah, here we go. The turf. Your turf is as much of a character as any person with powers and a personality of its own. What makes a successful house can be measured in all sorts of ways, but some argue forging a deep connection with local turf is the true measure of a house's strength. The amount of ground a house's turf covers can vary depending on many factors. How large the house is, the local sentiment about the house, and how the strength of psychic resonance from the turf's residents, and the strength of psychic resonance from the turf's residents. It is measured with a size rating. Domestic, neighborhood, district, sprawl. That's cool. So this is a built-in objective into the game, is to expand your turf. And your turf is, as it says, as much of a character as any person. So this is your crew sheet from Blades in the Dark. This is your group sheet from Girl by Moonlight. This is your vehicle sheet from The Last Caravan. Your turf is the thing that you care about and the thing that you want to see grow, because it has psychically awakened, and it's going to share the tone and the energy of your house and your vibe, right? So it's cool. It's cool. And this is telling you, this is the game. This is the progression of the game. You know, we may or may not be leveling up as characters, but we are trying to level up our turf. We are trying to level up our home. We are trying to level up our safe space. We are trying to, yeah. I mean, I said it all. I said it all already. Very cool. Turf communion. Whenever an Esper is on their own turf and has the time and space to concentrate, they can commune with the turf and ask it questions. That's so cool. To do this, play a card from your hand and state your question. The suit of the card will determine the type of response the turf gives. The value of the card determines the clarity of the response, with high-value cards giving more direct, easier-to-understand answers. That's so cool. It's so cool. Because this is like your recall knowledge check in a game, right? But in a trad game, we'll use Pathfinder 2 because I know it the best. Recall knowledge. Roll a d20, add the bonus. Did you fail, critically fail, succeed, or critically succeed? And then it tells you, if you critically failed, you get wrong information, and it's just, the GM's got to come up with it on the spot. This is telling you, it's giving you the suit system to flavor what answer you're supposed to give, and the value tells you how clear the answer is supposed to be. So you're like, okay, I need to answer with an answer appealing to emotion, connections, and mystery because it's a hearts card, and it's a 5, so it's not going to be that clear, so I'm going to be a little vague with it, and it just tells you as the GM exactly what note you need to hit. I think that's really cool. Encroaching on turf. It's entirely possible to have land that's part of more than one house's turf. Ooh, did not know that. It largely depends on the relationship between those houses and how well their visions of the world align. Okay, so it's not contrasting overlap, but you could have symbiotic overlap. Symbiotic? So there's a better word for this. That's all right. Areas of overlapping turf have the potential to be psychically overstimulated to those particularly sensitive. A clashing of ideals like currents in the ocean or layers in a kaleidoscope. Interesting. You can almost see that effect of you have two that are overlapping and like people just kind of stay out of that zone because they're like, it's too much for me, man. It's too much. Depending on I just imagine scattering. People are suddenly moving out of that district. Why are there so many places for rent in this space? Everybody's leaving. Depending on your outlook, the feeling that your local turf has changed. Okay, I'm not processing. Hold on. Depending on your outlook, the feeling that your local turf has changed could read as an invasion or infection, but all things must change, and no man is an island, as scary as that could be to face. Wow. Did not expect that vibe. Did not. Pre-release turf. All right. In the full version of City of Espers, you'll be able to create a turf unique to your table and watch it grow and change alongside your house. For now, choose one of the turf concepts below that your house manifested after navigating a moment of hardship. Interesting. I didn't realize it was going to give templates. So I wonder if then the turf creation is going to have modular build out components in the full version. Very interesting. Let's see just some of the examples here. The Apex. Our turf manifested after driving away a police raid. Someone who we thought was an ally ratted us out. And in the aftermath of defending ourselves, a lot of what we built together was trashed. Oh. We needed to remain vigilant, and the turf lent us its aid. You rarely see it out in the open, but you can always feel the turf's presence when it's around, stalking through the streets with soft footfalls, a jaguar, a wolf, a crocodile. Those who meet its ire move from the feeling of being watched to a feeling of being hunted. Holy shit! That is so fucking cool and not what I was thinking about turf at all. Wow. That's incredible. Dang, that's so cool. In a way, then, the turf is the community. Like, it's a stand-in for the community of everybody protecting each other, watching out for each other. But it's done in this psychic, mystical way. This is so cool. This idea that it, like, appears or energetically feels like this stalking creature. Man, that is cool. The DJ. We live for the drama, the spotlight, the parties. With every success of our house, we throw a celebration, and the turf has intertwined itself with our DJ sets and jam sessions. Communicating with the turf is simple. Turn on the radio and tune into an exact frequency. When there's trouble in the community, the turf may choose to spread the word in its own voice, a low and ancient feeling rumble you can't ignore. These are so cool. Holy hell. Oh my god, these are cool. The delivery. Our house was on the brink of collapse. Heavy friction between our old leader and their second in command threatened to bring it all down. It was only when they both expressed themselves with true openness and vulnerability that a resolution and our turf came into being. The turf can be a little unnerving. People around the neighborhood have seen a postal worker with their face cast in permanent shadow. No one's ever heard them talk, but the letters they deliver are long and passionate, responding to the fears and woes that our community have voiced. Just how much has it heard about our lives? Wow. These are really creative. I can't even imagine what like a custom built one might look like. A new view. So now you know the system's basics, created a house, and filled it with a cast of vibrant and unusual espers. If you like, you have all you need to start playing a one-shot. To deepen the experience, read on for some extra rules for play. We've kept things simple for this pre-release, but look forward to status conditions, downtime scenes, turf evolution, and more. All right, here's the tempo. We got to read this. Additional rules, tempo points. In both performance and battle, having control over the energy of the proceedings is vitally important. Tempo is a special resource that players can spend for a variety of effects to shift how things are going in small yet significant ways. At the start of a session and at the start of an action sequence, all players gain 1 tempo point. Tempo is cleared at the end of a session. Tempo points can be spent to do one of the following. 1. Flip over the top card of the deck. Add it to the total value of a check. If the total value is over 15, take 1 damage after resolving the check. I like how that has like this overclock element to it. That's kind of fun. Use the effects of an Espers relationship links. The effect. Is there a different effect per relationship? See, this is where I need to go back. Sorry. Back to... before abilities. Here we go. Relationship links. It just says to use a relationship effect here. And it says it'll give you an extra edge on certain tasks. So we don't yet know exactly what that means. That's okay. That's okay. Discard your hand and redraw that many cards. Reveal a previously ignored object in the scene that has made itself apparent. A previously ignored. Oh, okay. So this is creating elements in the scene. You're saying it was previously ignored, like it's been here all along, but now I'm generating it and saying it's been here all along, and now it's here for us to use or bounce off of or whatever. Instead of being KO'd, go to 1 stamina or appear in a scene you were not previously in. Neat. Oh, here we go. Friend effects. It's so funny. I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is. And then it immediately answers it. I'm like, dang it, I've done it again. Use the effect of an Esper's relationship links, which are these. Friend effects. If your friend is in close range, they recover 3 stamina. If your friend is in close or near range, remove 1 of their status conditions. Choose one of your friend's attributes. The next time you make a check with that attribute, use their value. That's cool. That's a great mechanic. I wonder how useful that would be. That'd be a really cool, easy thing to slot into Girl by Moonlight too. Use a link with somebody to use one of their attributes in place of your own. That's better than pushing. In a lot of cases, that's way better. It's maybe too powerful. Maybe you'd have to use 2 links for that. I don't know. Rival effects. If your rival is in close range, recover them from KO with 3 stamina. Okay, this is funny. Look at the look at the parallels here. If your friend is in close range, you can just recover 3 stamina. If it's their rival, they have to be knocked out, and then you can recover them with 3 stamina, so that you get that extra, just like saved your life. Here's a rival playbook, and Girl by Moonlight as well. If your rival is in close or near range, attempt to do something they just attempted, adding +2 to the check. Oh my god. That's so good. Take a card from your rival's hand without looking, then replace it with a card from your hand. That's beautiful. That's great. Remember when I said that, I hope there's some sort of card trade mechanic? Because if they have an ability and you have a really good card that they could use their ability with, you just take one of their cards at random and you go, boom, here you go. I just gave you what you needed to do your ability. That's so cool. I don't know why that's just in Rival, though. Like, mechanically, I feel like that would fit into a friend effect. So, I don't know. There are a limited number of ways to gain or give tempo points. Gain, land an attack that KOs a character. Nice. Gain, use a psychic ability that awards a tempo point. Fair. Give, use gear with a musical tag to perform for someone. Very cool. Hitting the streets. When the narrative tension rises to a fever pitch, it might be time for an action sequence. An action sequence could be anything: a high-speed car chase, an Esper battle infiltrating a building, or a district-wide game of hide and seek. If matters of timing, placement, or tactics would be important, it's a great candidate for an action sequence. Grab the miniatures and tokens representing your Espers, and get ready to throw down. Playing action sequences. Now I'm gonna skim through this because when I do these, I really want to find the vibe of the game and see some of the mechanics, and we've seen that. But we've got an action grid. We have end zones if the scene calls for it. So if you're trying to take turf, for example, and then you're going to move through these grids. Could be an Esper battle, could be an infiltration, etc., etc. And then here's your ranges. I like how this game could be played in a Google Sheet. I'm a spreadsheet person. Same zone is used close, zones next to you, but not diagonals are near. All other zones are far. And then gear and psychic abilities will tell you your ranges. So when the GM is making the grid, they're going to put landmarks in there, so specific like things about zones. So we're kind of talking like fate in a way, putting aspects onto zones. Difficult terrain, barriers, obstructions. Obstructions can have strength scores that need to be overcome. Chain link fences, gaps between roofs. So you can do chase scenes with this. And you want to set your objective. Okay, we've got clocks in here too. How long will the action sequence last? Are the characters working against a deadline? Well, a fight could go on until everyone on one side is KO'd. Folks know when they're fighting a losing battle. To keep up the pace of action sequences, the GM can set a number of rounds after which an outcome is decided. Okay, so it's not clocks in the Blades in the Dark or other games sense. Just basically a timer for when it's going to be over. Turns and timing. Play alternates between the players and their opposition. Players will act first. So is it alternating side initiative? Kind of seems like maybe. Or maybe it's side-based initiative. Character's turn has 2 actions. Cannot take the same action twice. When the turn ends, the player chooses who to pass the turn to next, friend or foe. Interesting. So it is kind of a group shared popcorn style initiative of sorts. All right. Alternate turn rules. Okay, so yeah, you're going to have different styles of initiative depending on what you're doing. If you have like a sporting event, it says you can pass control back to the opposing team. They choose, somebody to act, then back to the players. They choose somebody to act, etc. If there's a difference in the numbers, the side with fewer can opt to delay. At the end of the round, the team that didn't just act starts the next round. Okay. All right, here's our moves, our action sequence moves. We can move to any zone near to them that isn't obstructed. Of course, you can probably modify this with some psychic abilities. Use gear. Using 2 different gear items counts as separate actions, so you only pick one. Use a psychic ability. Concentrate. Play a card from your hand face down in front of you. On a later check or use of a psychic ability, you may spend face down cards to add 2 to the card's value for each card. Spent cards are discarded afterwards. Taking damage breaks your concentration. Discard any face down cards you placed when you take damage. Okay. So this is a way to burn, like, crummy cards. You just spend an action to concentrate, you put it face down. And it has a flat value of 2 for when you want to, like, let loose. That's kind of cool mechanic. Parkour, here we go. Succeed on a TN9 flow check to use this action. The character moves to any near or diagonal zone, even ones that are obstructed. Add the strength of an obstruction to the required check TN when trying to move through it. Cool. Freestyle. Covering a broad range of actions, the character interacts with the zone they're in or any close objectives. Hack a computer, tag a wall, pick up a ball, etc. Nice. That's kind of fun as an action name. Freestyle. I like that. Example action sequence. Fight in the alleyway. So we won't do this. In fact, we might be done. Because now it's going to go into specific NPC houses and such. But let's take a look at some of these spreads and the artwork that's already present in this project, because it's good. So check it out. This is the House of Starfall. And these are the cover characters. That is, forget her name, Anya, maybe. But these are the pre-gens as well, I think, these 5. So this is who you can play as. Yeah, got that, like, neon vibe going on. Here's Lyra, yep. Did I say Lyra? I didn't, but that's okay. I said Anya. Lyra, house leader and queen of the Esper battle scene. City pop brawlers. So they're Esper battle people. That's their deal. And they go out to karaoke every night. Open-hearted enthusiasm to everything they do, but black and white thinking is destined to collide with a city filled with complicated desires. Horologium. Robotic helmet. Rumors are that he is an actual robot. Andromeda. Oldest member and ex-leader of a different house. Interesting. Radiating cool big sister energy. Happy to pass their skills on to new blood. Stoic presence. Refuse to discuss what happened at House of Avalon. But that house still operates. Definitely bad blood between them. Oof. Corvus. Shy little guy. Slipping into the shadows to hide from bullies in high school. And he has a mental construct called Nyx. That's cool. A living shadow. Ursa. Chopper fully fueled. Pompadour freshly combed. Biceps on full display, baby. That's funny. Not as keen to wade into battle even when it's just for fun. Although when her friends are under risk, she's willing to split the very ground asunder with her geomantic abilities to save them. Cool. Very cool characters. Here's their turf. Constellation Cord. It's a pretty cool looking turf. I like the rainbow like archways going on here. Those are fun. The reach of Starfall's turf is surprisingly restrained considering their presence in the scene stretching across the main street in Zenner's entertainment district. The turf is closest felt when stepping out into the night air after a long day. Look up to the stars and take a deep breath. The city can be heard. Starfall often call for aid when fighting on their turf. When called on, the neon lights of the district pull into strings of light connecting people, forming barriers, and strummable like the world's largest guitar. It hates the idea of misunderstanding causing conflict. Oh, this is my character in Pathfinder 2 I just made. Picking up on the latent emotions of those who walk its streets, people bubbling with resentment behind a smiling facade may find themselves surrounded with ropes of light in an arena against the subject of their ire. House Gossip. House of Hyperion member has gone missing after seeking to confront Starfall. Oh. Eyewitnesses claim they were seen dragged underground by a tendril of light as they stepped into the entertainment district. Dang. This turf has got hands. Starfall appears to be suffering from their own success as an influx of Espers wanting to join the house have appeared after their latest Esper battle victory. How many members are too many? Oh, this is asking some big questions about communities and, yeah. Wow. Did not expect it to go there. Starfall have long kept the peace in the entertainment district, but venues have been struggling and closing. You can't punch the economy. Can Starfall do anything about it? Interesting. Then we've got another house here. I think these are the kind of the people you're playing against in the quick start. So I won't go over this because if anybody does end up playing in it, maybe you're not supposed to know that stuff. Welcome home. While we encourage your table to make Xener City your own, hold on, let me get back to the one page. Adding landmarks and areas from the cities you love or hate. In this section, we give some examples of what a Xener City could contain. We split the city into multiple districts, each with a list of infamous locations and recognizable locals. You could hold an entire campaign within a single district, so don't worry about having to map an entire city's worth of places and people before you start playing. I appreciate that guidance. People get too worked up about settings like that. That's great art. Beautiful. Adagio Street, notable locations. So I think we're just into... oh, this is fun. Little oracles for like what you'll find. I think we're kind of into the just setting locations stuff, which is great. You should go download this and read it for yourself. Looking to get a game going as quickly as possible or to take an Esper for a trial run before making your own? Look no further. Members of the House of Starfall are happy to lend a hand to your exploits. We've provided some house directives that fit this book's sample scenario, but feel free to adjust and adapt things for a story that most excites you. They certainly don't mind. So there's your pre-gens, their attributes, their gear. So let's, like we said, we'll look at a few of these. Lyra, House Leader of Starfall. 4421. That is above average. Because I think wasn't the array 1, 2, 2, 3. Stamina 7. Got hand wraps. Woven. These are the tags. So it's woven. This gear is incorporated into your outfit. Cannot be disarmed. And attuned to clubs. Checks made with this gear using clubs increase the skills checks value by +1. So she's a punchy. She's a punchy girl. Portable karaoke speaker gadget. Musical. And this is the tempo one. Once per session, you may give away a point of tempo by playing TN11 burn check. Pyrokinesis. And directives. Okay, this is cool. So you mark all of your directives, but you delineate which ones are house and which ones are personal. This is cool too. This is like the promise mechanic in Girl by Moonlight, where you invoke relationships with other characters to direct the direction of your character and what they're trying to accomplish for each other. So that's cool. You can work that into your own directives. Andromeda is her mentor in leadership. Very cool. So let's look at, I want to look at the gear mostly for the examples. Repulsar gloves. Uses plasmic. So when doing something against armored, checks are at +2. So this is just the rules text here. But seeing this and thinking of it with the character is what I was looking for. Robotic helmet gadget. Digital and stylish. Kind of an Ultron vibe there. A little bit of Ultron. CRT, House of Techno. They ripped off my look rival. That's funny. Andromeda, Unchained Knight. Excalibur, Reinforced Bat. Yikes. Melee. Oversized for extra damage. Wrapped Steel Chain, Ranged. Yeah, that definitely gives an image of what she's all about. She was she-they, I think. It's not on the sheet. Maybe she was they-them. Maybe they were they-them. Ugh. Whoops. Trying. Okay, so that was a reciprocal relationship, and then I can't parse this letter right now. Parzival? I don't know that font, what that letter's supposed to be. But Broken Oath's rival with that old house. Got Corvus, got a top secret diary. Haunted? Nice. And attuned to diamond. And a paintball gun. Nice. Got Nyx, the mental construct here. Ursa is the mama bear. Nice. And here's Ursa, badass biker. Punk biker gear. Deals 1 extra damage. Custom built chopper. Has the voyaging and miasmic. When used, this gear releases smoke or mist. Nice. Her relationships are Mama Bear to Corvus and You Can't Catch Me rival with an officer. Not good vibes. Looking to get a game going as quickly or as possible, or to take an Esper for a trial run before making your own? Look no further. Members of the House of Starfall are happy to lend a hand to your exploits. Oh, we just read this same text, I think, earlier. And here's the scenario. And cast of characters, NPCs, communing with your turf. That is a good mechanic too. Yeah, if you get kind of stuck, you can commune with the turf at any time to give you direction. It's a cool thing to have in the back pocket. Opening scene. We don't want to spoil any of this. And there you have it, I think. Is there any final? Nope, that's the final there. Welcome to Center City. Are you one of the ever-growing number that have awoken to startling psychic powers? Yeah, this is that intro video text. And there you have it. Coming to Kickstarter September 2026. So we'll keep an eye out for that on the channel here. We will let people know when it's coming out or when we hear more. I think it's very interesting. I like a lot of the card deck based mechanics. I like a lot of the themes. I like a lot of things. So it was a fun look. Hope you enjoyed it. What else should we talk about today? We are probably going to find some of our friends to go raid out to. I believe Zach and Cheeky, our good buds, are doing their Legends of Akaroth, but in Final Fantasy XIV world of Eozoria? I don't know. Anyway, we will go raid one of them. I think, did we do Cheeky last? I think we did. So we'll go over there in a minute. Now, I'm not on Twitch, but I've got friends on Twitch, so I can't actually raid people, but we always want to support our friends. If you're so kind to come over with me just for a moment, even if you just say hi and dip out, that's all right. But other than that, would very much appreciate if you guys like the stream. I feel like my brain is turning off, so I'm hitting that 2-hour mark soon. Like the stream, leave a comment if you have any. If you have any questions, thoughts about the game. As I've been mentioning elsewhere, I do need to change this little subscriber goal box. Just need to decide what else to put there. But there's 109 of you, and I'm so grateful that you're all here. But I'd love to hear from you. There's 109 of you, and I feel like I don't know most of you, and I would like to. I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to know what you're interested in, what you're not interested in, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of. Anything that suits your fancy. So feel free to leave a comment there. I was doing good at saying that at the beginning of streams, but I kind of forgot today, so it is what it is. Wednesday night, I believe, we're going to be back with Expedition 33. And beyond that, I don't have specific plans for Saturday or Sunday of this coming week. So that could be anything. Could be anything. I have some ideas. But I do have to work tonight at my second job, and then I took the rest of the week off from my first job. So I'm going to have quite a few days off to recover, recoup, make plans, work on things for the channel. I should be working on my next issue of The Signal, which is a newsletter I write for patrons. And it does a summary of all the things that everybody's been up to, games that have been played, streams that we've done, topics that have come up, and then also at least one, sometimes more, but at least one feature article that is available for certain higher tier patrons. So I do that for fun. It's a fun little recap and kind of a time capsule of the growth of the channel and what we've been talking about and everything that goes along with it. If you have not, or if you didn't watch the premiere of the video that launched today at 8:30 a.m. my time, so 3 hours ago, whatever. I did put together an edit, like I mentioned, of just a clip. I call it a clip. It's 22 minutes long. A clip of me really just talking about a lot of what my passions and desires and wants are for this channel and the community and the value that I want to add. So if you've ever wondered, or you don't know how to, who is this London person? Who is she? It's there in that video. Watch it. It's 22 minutes long, so I feel confident in just being just watch it. Put it on 2x speed, just watch it. And even more than that, share it. Share it out to your other communities and people if you think that a community of the sort that I'm trying to build would be of value to them. Especially coming off of looking at a game like City of Espers, talking about found family and turf and everything like that. London Station is the turf that we're building here, and trying to create a positive and supportive environment where we can all take care of each other and lean on each other, empower each other, support each other, all the good, happy things that you can do in a life of people who are going the same direction. The same direction is good vibes, you know? So, appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go put Zachary's link into the chat. I'm going to head over there into Zach's chat, and they're doing a duo RPG today, as I mentioned. So, I'm going to head over there. Please feel free to join me, and I'll see you next time on London Station. Have a great rest of your Sunday.